Okay, so we had Zach Levine, who was, I said, the new Teen Wolf, and I talked about Kevin Love, who used to play for the Timberwolves before he got there, and he's number zero. And in Space Jam, uh, Levine did the Space Jam dunk, and in Space Jam, the Monstars are number zero. And Kevin Love got traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers before the start of last season. And it was actually on August 23rd, 2014. And it's kind of weird considering the movie Teen Wolf came out on August 23rd, the same day that Kevin Love got traded. And I talked about how here it says Michael J. Fox is Back to the Future in a new comedy, and they're talking about Teen Wolf. And Teen Wolf came out just a little bit after Back to the Future. But anyway, his name in the movie is Scott Howard. Now, Scott is actually a name, it means Scotsman. So, the Great Scott and everything else I've talked about previously. Just wanted to point that out, I guess. So, let's take a look at the movie and see what I could find here. First off, just wanted to point out the colors of their team here. They are blue and yellow, and that is the same as the Michigan Wolverines. And they've been in the news like crazy lately just because they had a terrible season in football. Then in basketball, they were losing to like the unranked, like terrible teams. And also you have Tom Brady, who is from Michigan, and Super Bowl 49. Also, Michael J. Fox is number 42. And Kevin Love, when he played for the Timberwolves, was number 42. And right here the coach comes in and says, it's not that bad. First game of the season, 11 more to go, which could be 111 reference, which is also a September 11th reference. They also end up losing the game by 59 points, and I've talked about 59 and 55 a lot. Okay, and this is the Teen Wolf's best friend in the movie, and his name is Styles. But what I found interesting is that Zach Levine is who I was talking about that won the slam dunk contest. And what are the odds? The guy who plays Styles, his name is Jerry Levine. I mean, Jerry Levine, and then Zach Levine. I don't know. I mean, that's not necessarily that important, but it is kind of weird that they actually have a Levine in the movie. Now, another weird thing is this movie is set what is supposed to be California or something, I believe, or maybe Florida. It has palm trees in the movie, but there's more than one spot, and I'll show you a couple of them, where they have Nebraska Cornhusker stuff in the background. So, I mean, I did a bunch of research, can't figure out why. None of the people who made the movie, none of them are from Nebraska, Omaha, Lincoln. I mean, it's just kind of weird. So, this is in the coach's office. It says Husker Power, and there's another little flag over here with a Nebraska thing in it. And then when he's talking to his coach here in the office, if you look at the calendar, it's a November calendar, and it has, so I'm assuming November 1985. I can't see the year. It might be 84 because the movie came out in 85. But anyway, it only has marks on certain numbers on the calendar. It has 1, 2, 3. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And then it goes 12 and 22. So I just find that strange because it's November, and then Back to the Future, he goes back to 1955 on November 5th, and he comes back on November 12th. So that's just kind of interesting. And then they throw in the 22 that we've talked about a ton of times. Also, I'm not sure why, but the 12 and the 22 are both red, and the rest of the numbers are black. I'm not sure if that has something to do with the Santa Anita calendar, and there's something going on them days or something. It's just kind of weird, though. These are red. And he works at his dad's hardware store, and it's called Howard's Hardware, so HH, or 88. And then right here, his friend is trying to buy a keg of beer, and I noticed that he has a Peterbilt hat on. And the guy who founded Peterbilt was T.A. Peterman. He was born on 3/22, and he died on November 16th, 1944. So half of 88. November 16th is 45 days until the end of the year. And then the Valentine's Day I've talked about that goes along with everything I'm saying is the 45th day of the year. And then right here he's worried about being the wolf or whatever. He doesn't know what's going on kind of thing. And the teacher says, Wolf, Thomas Wolfe. Don't you read your stuff? Something Angel, his book, and I'll show you here. They're talking about Thomas Wolfe, who died at age 37. And they're talking about this book here, Look Homeward, Angel. And it came out in 1929, which is the same year as the St. Valentine's Day Massacre with, I can't think of the one guy's name, but Al Capone and Bugs Moran. And the school they go to is the Beacontown High School, and they're the Beavers, Beacontown Beavers. So BB, which is either 22 or 88. Their uniforms are actually sponsored by Adidas as well. And Adidas was founded in 1949. And I've talked about 49 a lot with the Super Bowl. Like, it's 7-7. Just lots of stuff with 49. 66 years ago. The guy who founded it even died at age 77. And of course, I've spotted it again. The St. Andrew's Cross. But this is actually the Greek flag. But, why is that even in the movie? It's the white cross that I talked about that I've seen in a lot of time travel movies. And it's St. Andrews is Scottish, and he's Scot. And here's a picture of the Greek flag. I'm just talking about, though, the white cross with the blue around it. And if you look at it at an angle, it actually is the same thing as this, the flag of Scotland. So, and then right after that, they're handing out the school newspaper. And on the back of it, it flashes for like a split second. It says, sound the alarm. I mean, that could really mean nothing, but it's kind of weird that it says, sound the alarm on the back of this newspaper. And I mean, the reason that's even kind of weird is because the newspaper's called The Beacon. And if you look up what a beacon is, it is an intentionally conspicuous device designed to attract attention to a specific location. So this is called the Beacon, and they put like a secret message on the back, or sound the alarm, and then it's called the Beacon. So they're trying to draw your attention away from that. And then at his house here, he has a Nebraska Cornhusker calendar, and so I don't know. It's really weird to have Nebraska Cornhusker stuff. It is in Lincoln, Nebraska, so that makes me think of Abe Lincoln. I'm not saying anything's going to happen, but it could, I guess. Abe Lincoln died on the same day as the Boston Marathon. It was also 88 years after 1776, and he was almost born on right by Valentine's Day, or Lupercalia. It was one day before it, but it was 216 years ago. So that is 6 times 6 times 6. So who knows? I mean, but it's really weird. They flashed Nebraska. So who knows? We'll see. I guess we'll find out. And then at the very end, this is the very last game. He walks in, or they flash this right before he comes in, and he realizes he's not going to be the wolf to beat these guys or whatever. But there's 2 minutes and 13 seconds left. So 2:13, which would be the day before Valentine's, or the first day of Lupercalia. And the score is 3-22, so 3-22. They also do flash 45s a decent amount in the movie, but it's also during when they're playing basketball, and there's a lot of other numbers, so, I mean, who knows? It could be just whatever, but they flash them at, like, weird times, and I just never really showed it, I guess. But at the very end, when he's playing the game, the song When in the End is playing, and it's by Mark Safin. I mean, it looks like Mark of Satan if you look at it, but I mean, it's an F instead of a T. But Mark Safin. But what caught my ear was there's a part where he says, I could change the pattern steal a ring from Saturn, and then something about becoming a man of war. I just thought that was interesting. I guess I forgot at the very end, they win the game, and he makes a free throw to win the game, and the score is 52-51, and that's what they win by. But if you add 52 and 51, it's 103, and 103 is the 27th prime number, and 88 years ago was 1927, and 27 years ago was 1988. Also, he was number 42, and 42 days after, or 37 days after Valentine's Day is 4/2, April 2nd. Also, MTV has a series called Teen Wolf that came out in 2011, and I kind of just looked through the episodes here. It wouldn't let me watch episode 45. I just couldn't find it anywhere. But I did find an episode with time in it, and it was also episode 8 of the 4th season, and it came out on August 11th, which is 8/11/88. So in the very beginning, they talk about the Walther P88 gun, and then this is the cop that was talking about it, and he has to go back to San Francisco, which also is a 49 reference. I mean, this could be somewhat of a stretch, but they do mention 45 like a bunch of times in this episode, because he fakes his death and he only but he's still alive. He's like in a coma kind of thing, and he can only live for 45 minutes, so they bring up 45 a lot. But this girl says, is 3 enough? And the Copenhagen shooting was the 2 people that died, and then the shooter was dead too, so is 3 enough? And it's all about like faking a death or whatever. So faking like this, their mission or whatever is the fake stuff, I guess. It's kind of hard to explain. Then he says, so the idea is, what if you kill someone on the dead pool? And that made me remember the movie, the 1988 movie with Jim Carrey called The Deadpool. I mean, I'm not going to talk about it that much. Just want to point out it's 1988, and it was set in San Francisco. And here's where they say 45 minutes. They're talking about how long he has to live. I just took screenshots because my computer kept freezing up. But here's another where they mention it. If he stays longer than 40, what happens if he stays like this longer than 45 minutes? What happens after 45 minutes? And when he's like dead, he has this dream about this kid wearing the number 9 jersey, which is 4 and 5. And this guy kills him over and over, and at the end, the Teen Wolf guy actually kills him in the dream. But it's weird because this guy's mouth is covered up, like he can't talk, and the Copenhagen shooting was at a freedom of speech rally, so he's saying you can't talk, and he's murdering number 9, which is 45, and once again, I'm saying 45 because it's February 14th is the 45th day of the year. And then they talk about this girl's mom, and she's the desert wolf, and they say, well, that means she's a coyote. And then I thought of Wile E. Coyote. And his first appearance was in 1949. So the characters were created by animation director Chuck Jones, who died on February 22nd, 222 of 2002. And the writer was Michael Maltese, M.M. He died age 73, and he also died on February 22nd, 222. And I've talked about Mark Twain a decent amount, not a whole lot, but it says, Jones based the coyote on Mark Twain's book Roughing It. And Roughing It says astronauts on Gemini 7, they read the book on to pass the time, and they were in space for 14 days, which could be February 14th, and it was in 1965, which is, or I guess it will be, 49 years ago. Actually, it was 49 years ago. Also, the book was 607 pages long, and 607 is the 111th prime number. The 45th episode was called The Wizard of Owl, and it was the first episode produced after the death of Chuck Jones, and it came out on November 1st, which is 111. Alright, I'm just going to end it there. I'm running out of time. Who knows? I know a lot of that they're not the greatest connections or whatever, but just wanted to point them out in case they might lead to something else. Anyway, Have a great day.